Bought my dream car selling on Etsy. Now, when you think about Etsy, you're like, wait, isn't that what like moms use when they come back from their job and they sell some candles on the side and they make a few $100 a month? People kind of shrug off Etsy. But for me, and the way I started, well, I used to live at home with parents and I tried every side hustle possible. Amazon, drop shipping, trading. And I was always obsessed with trying to do something that nobody has done. So thinking outside the box. And that's when I understood that the second biggest marketplace in the world is Etsy, right? So I was like, why don't I just start selling on Etsy? There's millions of buyers. They have discretionary income. They're very lax. And that's what I did. So I started on Etsy around the end of 2020, around when COVID was just settling in. And there was a lot of demand on Etsy because 90% of Americans were buying masks online from Etsy. And that's also when the Etsy stock price was just soaring. So that's when I started. I didn't start digital right away because, as many of you know, I've built my empire selling strictly digital. I actually started on Etsy drop shipping things from China. Now, it started off good. I was selling home decor items. Little did I know was that was actually against the policies, and because you can't drop ship on Etsy, especially from China. There's a lot of handmade rules, like items have to be handmade. So it started off well, and then returns started to fly in because customers are waiting. Surprisingly, I was pretty lucky because I was selling an item that was in demand, but what happened down the line is returns started to fly in, but customers were lax enough to wait for those items to come in. So I managed to keep most of my profit because if this was, let's say, selling on Amazon with all the fees, the customers expect fast shipping because they're used to Prime, right? So as you know, it would have been much worse if I chose another marketplace. But that was my journey on Etsy when I first started. Mind you, before I even started selling on Etsy, I lost tons of money everywhere else. And it's pretty crazy because once I realized it wasn't sustainable, drop shipping as a whole, I discovered that there are people selling organizers and planners that were digital. A lot of people would buy them for their studies and put them on tablets. And I saw that people were selling these digital items. There was no stress of shipping. There was no product quality. It was just a digital file and it would go straight to the customer. So that really interested me to start selling digital items on Etsy. So I dedicated myself to strictly sell that because I saw people were literally selling like crazy and there was no need for like fulfillment and managing customer service because everything is sent automatically. So that's how I kind of got started on Etsy. I started to sell, it started off with Notion planners because, again, I was so obsessed with thinking outside the box. Already, everyone back at the end of 2020 to 2021 were selling on other platforms and no one even cared about Etsy. So I still wanted to stand out even more. I got deeply into Etsy templates, primarily around the wedding niche. For those of you that don't know, one of the most profitable categories, I'm kind of revealing what I sold, was weddings. So I stuck around wedding checklists and wedding organizers for women getting married, and I sold those for around $30 to $40. The beautiful thing about these templates I sold in the wedding niche is that you would hire someone to design them once, and then they would just sell over and over again, pretty much around an 80% profit margin. There are Etsy fees. Back then, the Etsy fees were a bit less. And yes, at the beginning, there was some Etsy ads you have to run in the beginning to kind of build up your ranking. But eventually, it just starts selling on its own because you're ranked for those keywords, right? That's kind of the beauty of it. So that's where I first started to taste 500 a day profit, and eventually it led to 1K a day. 2K a day was the max I've done on Etsy, were around 2K days with very, very high profits. And I just scaled that. I couldn't believe what I was doing because templates would just be sold and sent straight to the customer. The only time I would have to get involved was when a customer had a question about how to use it on their tablets or on their Amazon Kindles. That was pretty much it. It was a digital file. It was insane, right? And the beauty about Etsy is that at the end of the day, to stand out, you just need a really good thumbnail. It actually matters more than anything else. All that traffic, when people type in wedding, if the thumbnail is a hit, they will choose you over anybody else, right? It actually matters the most. Sometimes it matters more than price. You can be charging higher for a template, 40, 45 bucks, versus another template that's really cheap. The customer will choose your thumbnail because there's more value. You're kind of explaining everything they need to know about why to buy that thumbnail in the first 5 seconds, because these people, they have a short-term memory span. It's normal as an online consumer. So that was my kind of breakthrough moment, and my timing was good because there wasn't many complicated templates that had a bunch of features built in. No one was really bundling templates. So when I started, that's where I really dominated the front page of Etsy, selling these literally thousands a day in sales, profit. And that eventually added up. And as you know, I bought my dream Porsche 911. That was my turning point when I realized all I had to do to kind of dominate Etsy was just stand out versus everyone else and have a unique thumbnail. It's kind of keep it stupid simple. It just worked out amazingly. So it's kind of scary because there's people who at the time, now we're in 2021, 2022, they were selling, on Amazon, on Facebook with 20%, 30% margins, sometimes even lower. They would have 1K, 2K days on their dropshipping store from China, maybe netting 500 to 800 bucks a day. Those are the big stores. Whereas me, if I had a 2K day, I was making about 1,700 profit a day. It was insane. It was literally insane. So there was so much money coming in. And that's when I eventually decided to buy my dream Porsche 911, because when it comes to Porsche, I love the Porsche, the history of the car, the way it's built. I kind of fell in love with the brand. A lot of people who talk about selling online, they're obsessed with Lamborghinis and these tacky items. I just wanted a sleek Porsche with character. So in the end, I ended up buying it, not leasing. I bought the car, large down payments. It's almost all paid off. And, I could have bought a newer Porsche. I bought a few years old. I like the old gen. It sounds better, has a wider body. And the way it's built, it has so much character, the quality, the leather. You can really feel quality when you go back 5 years on some Porsches, the way they feel. A lot of people, they'll buy these new Mercedes, these new BMWs. The quality is very plastic. It's not, it's just not it. You don't feel like you're driving a work of art. And that's kind of how I feel driving my Porsche. And that's pretty much how I bought my Porsche 911. I mean, it's hard to believe, you think, who would have thought, from Etsy, you think there's no money, but you have to realize where nobody is looking, that's where most of the money is going to be made. Sometimes it could be the weirdest things ever. Well, you'd be surprised. That's where the money is. It can be as simple as a doctor's checklist template, a weight loss tracker. You can be really specific. You can even be a checklist for organized moms. The more specific you are in the keywords, you will dominate that and you can charge higher. 30, 40 bucks a template. Very simple. You can use Canva and make these templates. If you have some extra money, you can go get a freelancer to build it for you and make an amazing thumbnail. But to be honest with you, at the end of the day, if you really want to succeed on Etsy, take your time for two things. A good thumbnail that really catches the eye of the customer and an amazing keyword research. You don't need to put too many keywords, just good keywords that are low competition. You can use eRank and other tools, but it's very simple. That's pretty much what I recommend when it comes to starting off on Etsy. Yes, I had an easier time because the demand for Etsy was even more crazier around COVID because everyone was home shopping away. The discretionary income was crazy, right? And that leads me to kind of where I am today. Now years later, I've been living alone, 26 now. I have my dream condo, dream Porsche. And, I've already hit 500K a year on Etsy. It's pretty crazy. Can I hit $1 million a year? To be honest, I would hope I can do it. It's just a matter of thinking outside the box and making unique templates, knowing what's out there and making something better. Right now, a lot of people, I teach people, you can start on Etsy, see what's working, make a small tweak, and you'll make money on Etsy. But if you want to make record months and really scale, you have to see what's out there, make something completely unique that gives the customer a wow moment in their linear journey on Etsy, thumbnail, offer, and then price. If you meet all that criteria, I mean, there's no reason why you can't do it. I mean, listen, you go back a few years, I was literally struggling on debt, line of credit, trying everything. I lost money, but I was open minded. I tried every side hustle. And I believe you should do the same thing too if you want to make it in the world of online business. Have an open mind and just try everything. The same thing with Etsy. Templates are a bit harder to start off with. It requires more, sorry, I'm burping. It requires more work because there's a lot of pages. But also, if you want an easier way into starting on Etsy, just sell PNG art. On my Instagram below, I just yap every day about how easy it is to use AI, and you can just go and create easy PNGs with AI and sell them for $2-3 a pop. But that in volume can still make you a few K a month. It can cover rent, it could cover bills, it can do a lot for you, right? And when you're ready, you could slowly ease your way into selling the templates. The real money is going to be in templates. And, it can be difficult, but that's what it takes, right? And even after all this journey of selling on Etsy, like now I have a whole team. We have a whole agency service where we help ordinary people start selling these PDF templates on Etsy and PNGs. We help you from A to Z. We spoon feed you what works. We spoon feed you designs. We kind of make the whole system amazing. It's kind of everything I wish I had when I started. Now it's kind of this done for you hybrid system that just works. So if that interests you, if you kind of want to have that hand holding experience with designers, with products all in front of the palm of your hand so you can start selling, you can actually book a call down below. But besides that, that's pretty much how I went from zero to dominating on Etsy, getting my dream Porsche, and yeah. And if you want to see more videos about how I yap on Etsy and how I build this business, drop a follow. And yeah, this is just a raw video. Take care.